survival against impossible odds. It's a tale as old as time. But what happens when a grieving widow's pilgrimage becomes a desperate fight for survival in the frozen wilderness of Minnesota? That's exactly what we're exploring today.
That's such a fascinating premise, especially with Emma Thompson taking on this challenging role. What drew you to this particular story?
Well, it's the way this film, Dead of Winter, manages to weave together these threads of love, loss, and survival. Picture this: a widow traveling through brutal winter conditions to scatter her husband's ashes at their first date spot, only to stumble into something far more sinister.
That's quite a shift from what sounds like a personal journey of grief. How does the film handle that transition?
That's where Emma Thompson's performance really shines. She brings this incredible depth to Barb, showing how her grief actually becomes a source of strength when she discovers a young woman named Leah being held captive by this desperate couple.
Oh wow, so it becomes more than just a survival story against the elements?
Exactly right. And here's where it gets really interesting. The antagonists aren't your typical villains. We've got this couple, the man in the camo jacket and his wife, called the Purple Lady, who are driven by this twisted kind of love. She's dying, and they've somehow convinced themselves that kidnapping this young woman is the key to her survival.
That's such an intriguing moral complexity. How does Thompson's character navigate this situation?
Well, what's fascinating is how Barb's own experience with loss actually informs her response. The film uses these really effective flashbacks, showing her younger self, played by Gaia Wise, and her husband Carl, which help us understand why she's so determined to save Leah. It's like she's channeling her love for her late husband into this mission to prevent another kind of loss.
The setting must add another layer of tension to all this. Tell me more about how they use that isolated winter landscape.
The cinematographer, Christopher Ross, really makes the Minnesota wilderness feel like this oppressive presence. You've got these stunning but threatening shots of snowbound forests and frozen lakes. And get this, they're 2 hours from the nearest town with zero phone reception. Every step through the snow could be deadly.
That isolation really forces the characters to rely on their own resources. How does Barb handle these physical challenges?
That's one of the most compelling aspects. She's not suddenly transformed into some action hero. Instead, we see this ordinary woman using her intelligence and determination to overcome these extraordinary circumstances. The film keeps everything grounded in reality, which makes her triumph feel earned rather than contrived.
Let's talk about the antagonists' performances. How do they stack up?
Mark Menchaca brings this fascinating sense of doom to Camo Jacket, like he knows he's caught in a tragedy of his own making. Now, Judy Greer as the Purple Lady, that's where opinions differ. Some felt her performance was a bit theatrical, though you could argue that fits someone desperate enough to kidnap an innocent person.
So it sounds like the film really explores different responses to mortality. How does that theme play out?
That's really the heart of it. Through Barb, we see how accepting loss, while painful, allows love to remain pure. Through the antagonists, we see how the fear of death can corrupt love into something destructive. It's like watching two different paths play out simultaneously.
That's quite profound. How does the film maintain suspense while exploring these deeper themes?
Director Brian Kirk does this brilliant thing where he uses the environment itself as a constant source of tension. The silence of the snow-covered landscape makes every sound significant, and he maintains this air of mystery about certain elements until the very end, while steadily ratcheting up the stakes.
Well, it sounds like it really delivers both as a thriller and as a deeper meditation on love and loss.
That's exactly what makes it worth watching. While there might be some moments where you need to suspend disbelief, the overall experience is both compelling and thought-provoking. It's earned that 7 out of 10 rating by offering something more substantial than your typical survival thriller.
You've been listening to Movies First.
Available at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast player. You can also stream on demand at Bytes.com.
This has been another quality podcast production from Bytes.com.